All right. At first, I was worried about going live because I don't know how's my hair look and all that kind of stuff, and I was gonna worry about getting the right background and working it all out. But I'm just gonna go with it, roll with it. Hoka Ray is here. My Facebook, Hey Hoka Ray. He just does what he does and tries to keep it real. So I'm in a beautiful spot here, near Kingman, Arizona, at a intentional community called Arcadia, where I am doing some work on an RV. We have a little Cars for Trees business where we do fix up cars and plant trees and stuff like that. We're upcycling. And so we came up from the Sedona area to Kingman to get this RV back on the road again. So right here on that job today, I'm just kind of overseeing that. And Neil Kiernan can smell the pine. Yeah, this is similar territory to the East Mountains of Albuquerque, Neil, where you came out to visit me one time. Very similar, in fact, the same latitude. Is that the north-south? It's the same kind of latitude, just further west. Pretty much the same altitude, too, so it's very similar terrain out here in the high desert. So what I'm hoping to do is figure out how to invite somebody or something. And I think he has to join. So, Tomo, if you are seeing this, you got to join, bro. Let's do this. We're doing this. We're doing it live. We're doing it live. The immortal words of Bill O'Reilly. We're doing it live. So if anybody can reach out to Tomo, who's watching, Tomo comes on my Facebook page and consistently attempts to deconstruct what seems like obvious truth. In the truthers community, we just roll with each other, and a guy like him makes it seem like we're in our own, what do you call it? We're echoing just off each other and like missing some obvious stuff, which is, hey, so I'm ready to have that be the truth, that I'm built my own echo chamber with my Facebook people or whatever, and we're just believing our own bullshit at this point. And of course, I'm not going into this thinking that's the case. So Tomo and he challenges almost everything I post. He's the only one. So maybe we'll have a chance to check in with each other and just see where this goes. So if you join, Tomo, I can you message me. I can add you. So come on in if you're around, brother. And I can just stop and restart another time, of course, if we're not going to catch him. But otherwise, I'm going to give it another minute here. Oh, what do we got there? We got some stuff. Somebody's dropping some things and stuff, some hearts and other items. I don't know what they are. But Tomo, come on out. Come on, toe-to-toe. Toe-to-toe with Tomo. That's what we should call this. No, I was actually going to call this, and I will probably name it, something like Conspiracy Theory versus Mainstream Academia, Science, and Media. I think that's the kind of the divide that's happening in the world today. This kind of like people that are very open to what seems like obvious conspiracy to win power and money and control the earth. Wow, what people would actually do that? Do people actually do horrible things to each other in order to get power and money and control the whole entire planet? Is that even possible? Yep. It just seems obvious that that's the case. But yeah, like I think Tomo doesn't think that or something. He thinks it's all just perfectly reasonable behavior. Something like that. Yeah, sounds like the debate right now. Exactly, Rob. And, so there's this, so basically my whole theory is that the problem with science and academia is that they have a admitted and proud bias against human experience being part of their information source. I mean, who's the guy who replaced Carl Sagan on the new Cosmos? He's a black man, super funny, super smart, but just twisted in this way where he admits on this one video I saw, he laughs at how ridiculous and proud scientists are of the ridiculousness of human experience, and how that is absolutely the most useless thing in scientific methodology and scientific experimentation. And of course, so it seems by inference what he's actually saying there is that the human experience of the scientists themselves and the biases and the world they live in and the economy they live in and the money they're making and the paycheck they're getting are also irrelevant. It seems to be what is kind of implied by all that. And that couldn't be further from the truth. Yeah, I'm live, man. Maybe if he doesn't show up. Oh, you're already going there. I was going to say it too. Okay. Anyway, yeah. Tomo Albanese or something. Neil deGrasse Tyson. That's it, David. Thank you. Neil deGrasse Tyson. Super cool dude. Like, I like the way he makes science accessible and makes it fun and stuff. That's cool. Like, for kids who want to learn about science, like, he's got a good attitude, but he scares me because... So that's the bad thing about science and academia, is that they ignore human experience, and the bad thing about like conspiracy theory circles is they lack really any kind of trained critical thinking. And so, so what? So what happens is science and academia judges that lack of trained critical thinking as if, I can't possibly waste my time with this because it's just human experience. That's all. It's just their human experience. We can't waste time with that. So how do we merge these two things is the question. And that's what I would call, if we could figure out how to merge these two things and create a cohesion and a discussion space for science and academia and like conspiracy theory, like human experience, the patterns they notice, just a normal person notices in their day-to-day life, can be held safely and looked at. Look for the common patterns between the experiences and really take that data into account. How can we create what I would call collective sense-making around that? So, still no Tomo, but might have to just do this another time or something. The questions 1 to 3 I have for those that think anything is conspiracy theory at this point are... All right, we're getting Rob's questions. So conspiracy theory. Let's break down that term for a second. First of all, there's the conspiracy theory that the CIA created the term conspiracy theory. They created that term and injected into the public psyche purposely to whitewash the JFK assassination. As part of the Warren Commission report. So anybody who doubted the Warren Commission report, which is the official whitewash version of all the events around the JFK assassination, anyone who questioned that, they are wild conspiracy theorist. Yeah, and of course, 50 years later now, when all the classified documents have been released and the movie gets made and all that stuff, we get teased with bits and pieces of, I'm sure, were truth from... was it Scorsese? Whoever directed JFK certainly gave enough information to have everybody realize, yes, of course, this is a more complicated conspiracy. Yes, of course, Lee Harvey Oswald was a patsy, like he said he was, and then they shot him dead, and Jack Ruby shot him dead, in front of the world, so he would shut up about that story. That's enough, right? That's enough. Anybody who can't see the rest, everybody can't see that fuckery clear as day and can't see the rest. Just be open mind for the possibilities of the rest. So Oliver Stone, yes, not Scorsese, it was Oliver Stone. And so that gave us all kinds of interesting insight, but of course probably misdirected us from the truth too. But the point is, this conspiracy theory is that the CIA created the term conspiracy theory so that when that term was said, just like George Bush said it after 9/11, let's not get caught up in crazy conspiracy theories, he said at the State of the Union address, something like that. And that's because the term is now in the popular culture psyche. All you have to do is invoke that term and everybody ignores everything further that that person says, and it's really worked. Whether the conspiracy theory is conspiracy fact that the CIA did in fact create the term for that or not, the term does have that effect. So there's a stigma, and for science and academic people that want to keep their reputations, they can't ever be labeled a conspiracy theory. They have to be very, very careful. And you know, a guy who's walking the line is like Joe Rogan, for instance. He walks the line of conspiracy theory, but won't ever cross the line to where anybody could ever call him a conspiracy theorist. No, instead, he's relegated to the mere alt-right white supremacist, of course. So, because he doesn't follow the woke left ideology and say everything exactly, use the words exactly the way they want him to use them every single time. So therefore, he is an alt-right white supremacist. Weaponized media is very apropos at this time. I would say so, Michael Bravo. Bravo, Michael Bravo. The major media, the 6 major corporations. I mean, if you haven't ever Googled the 6 major corporations that own all the media and the whole chart of the thousands and thousands of little independent media companies that were all bought up over the last 10, 20 years, especially, if you haven't grokked that, and then if you still think that Fox News and like that Trump has some kind of allies in the media and the corporate media structure, by all means, please give me some data. If you see any way that any of the corporate media is in any way allied with Donald Trump, I would love to see this evidence, because like one little interview snuck out of Laura, I think her name might have been. It's a very professionally done interview. Neil says alt-right who endorsed Tulsi Gabbard and Bernie Sanders. Yeah, this is Joe Rogan who endorsed Tulsi Gabbard and Bernie Sanders, and he's alt-right and white supremacist and transphobic. If course, he's transphobic. Anybody who says, I don't really like when somebody tells me how I have to talk. And I certainly don't like if they would ever consider using the government to tell me how I have to talk. Anybody who says that gets labeled transphobic. That's crazy. Insanity. It's this woke left. Like, if you don't say the right words or the right ways, that you get labeled. And I'm really, it's killing sensible debate. Like, that kind of attitude is not allowing us to just have sensible conversation. Like basically, if you would prefer a certain pronoun, then you ask me, then, well, heck yeah, I'm going to call you what you want to be called. That's just common courtesy. If I accidentally mess up because you are out of the cultural norm in a strange kind of way, and I mess up and I don't call you what you want to be called, please forgive me. It does not make me transphobic. I'm sorry. And that hasn't actually happened to me, though. That hasn't actually happened to me. So the implication is, though, that if that would ever happen, that you can be crucified for it, and we just have to stand up for this in this huge, obnoxious kind of way ahead of time, which just, leaves this impression that that you're trying to tell people how to speak. So let's see here. What else can I cover while I'm seeing if Tomo's going to show up? I was saying something else, yeah, if anybody sees any media that is actually any of the major corporate media that's on Trump's side, I was saying there was one little interview that snuck out on which he said, and he said the words, I am trying to take down the deep state. That's what I'm trying to do. And it was done, can't think of the name of the little media corporation now, and even the reporter, because it didn't go big. It went mainstream, but it was very professionally done. It was done as professionally as like any of these mainstream presidential interviews on prime time, like in a nice setting with professional lighting and camera work and microphones, and very well done, and very poignant questions she was asking Trump. She was the one interview, professional style, that met up to that kind of professional media modern standards that we've come to expect, that actually was giving Trump space to appear as a reasonable human being with decent ideas as to what's happening in the world and what he plans to do about it. Okay. Tomo, where are you at, man? Tomo, get up in here. So, Okay, yeah, Rob Uzel's asked some good questions. I don't know if I'm going to get into it. The Trivium, Michael Bravo's talking about Trivium is a good tool to figure out real stories versus bullshit. Yeah, so this is, Deanna's messaging me privately. I'm very moved by that. Okay, so the Trivium is a good tool to figure out real stories versus bullshit. Yes, so this is critical thinking. This is trained critical thinking. And yes, there's something very useful about that. And no, a vast majority of people, all right, I'll send you those messages again, Deanna. Don't you worry, or I'll write it out or something. The vast majority of people aren't trained for critical thinking and critical discussion, and so that's just the way it is. That doesn't mean their opinions are less valuable. You know, that's the problem we're dealing with. So we have to create sense-making algorithms, sense-making space for sense-making that allow all opinions to be heard, even the bullshit, even a total utter conspiracy theory nonsense, flat Earth, for instance, utter nonsense, always has been. Flat Earth is such an interesting thing. So if you watch something like The Social Dilemma is a documentary about social media and how they use the metadata they can basically identify and manipulate you based on just eight or 10 of your reactions to posts or posts themselves. They can analyze the content of that post, analyze your reaction to it, categorize you, and then give you all the things, be very, very accurate about what your interests are in life, what beliefs you take on, what your political angles are, and therefore manipulate you with bullshit if they chose to. And so social media, The Social Dilemma does a pretty good job at explaining that part. But then in the process, equates the flat Earth conspiracy theory with the pizza and hot dog stuff that became called Pizzagate, which is apparently the FBI has acknowledged that these kind of code words are used in pedophilia rings. And you can see those words being used by some of the very powerful elite. Happen to be Democrats in this case, is some of the stuff that's leaked, right? And so that's all legit. That's all very legitimately worth looking into. And they equate the flat Earth theory, which anybody can learn to use a sextant in a few hours, right? Do some measurements, step outside, get in a wide space where you can see the horizon, do some measurements on the sun. If we weren't on a globe, the sextant wouldn't work. I mean, come on, this is basic geometry and anybody can do it. Versus a very complex thing that is all based on media reporting and secondhand information and rumor and innuendo. And there's people say, if there's a bunch of elite, satanic ritual abuse, pedophile, child traffickers, then there'll be evidence for it. Show me the hard evidence. Well, guys, if you want hard evidence over something like that, and that is what it will take to make you realize that something like that is happening, you are hopelessly lost, people. So I don't know what is happening, but I don't know who and what and when. I don't know all the particulars, but it's very, yeah, there's some, I think it was an Obama and Hillary email, $65,000 on hot dogs and pizza. Anyway, what does it mean? If it's not talking about pedophilia, great. What is it talking about? It's worth investigating is the point. So what's happening is it's been branded not the conspiracy theory. It's been branded a conspiracy theory because one guy heard a rumor that there were kids in the basement of a pizza shop. Okay. So he took that enough to get his AK-47 or whatever it was, AR-15, maybe something like that. And, decided to go there. In New York or Connecticut, I believe it was, somewhere, and go ahead and shoot up the place, break in there and shoot the place up, shoot down into trying to get through the floor because he thought something was down there. So this whole thing, they use this as a perfect opportunity to take this mainstream, this crazy guy, crazy enough to believe everything, right, and to want to do something about it. So they made a big scene about that and acted like anybody who thinks there's anything to pizza and hot dogs worth investigating is now a nutcase. is a nutcase conspiracy theorist. And so that kind of thing works. Like you put that on the mainstream and make fun of it, and it becomes the popular culture laughs their ass off. And popular culture, here's the basic argument here I make. Popular culture has been captured by the blue church. This is the bottom line. So if you don't know about the blue church, Jordan Hall wrote a great article. It's called Understanding the Blue Church. You can just Google that. And it explains that there's just this ideology that has really consumed a good chunk of the popular culture planet-wide, globally, that has consumed intelligence, government, deep state, banking, I would say, and it's an ideology that is not based in any way that I can tell on the obvious natural law that is taught through all spiritual traditions, that is obvious in the inherentness of existence. If those who do any kind of spiritual practice or do deep meditative work or medicine of any kind, it allows you to kind of get on the other side of the veil of reality in any way. It's pretty easy to see fundamental patterns of existence that play out in certain ways in human systems and in human relationships, and scaling human behavior, scaling social coordination. It means understanding human behavior in such a way that we can have it work at scale and have people feel good within it. And that's very possible. And so I believe it's very possible. So censorship is out of control these days is the bottom line. If I just change subjects from there, I think I made that point. But I'm really just waiting for Tomo and ranting on and on and on. So I'm going to stop that now. It doesn't seem like he saw this. He did say he was available like an hour ago, but maybe he decided he was going to go mow the lawn after all. And we'll try this again soon. So everybody who hung around, thanks a lot for that. And many blessings to you all. Look for another live soon. Bye.